Yay! You finished your first knitted square. That is super cool, and I am so proud of you. So hopefully at this point you have all of your ends sewn in and it is ready to go. Today we are going to be sewing up our bunny. He'll be just about finished other than his cute little tail after today. So for supplies, you're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a sewing needle, just a yarn needle, one with a nice big eye. You will need some yarn, ideally the same as what you've been doing your project in. You will also need a different color of yarn, something for the eyes. So let's see. See our cute little eyes here? You're going to want those in a different color than your bunny or they're going to really blend in. You can also skip the eyes if you don't want a bunny with eyes. So black is the color I normally do with them, but this time I think I'm going to go with the light pink for my bright pink bunny. You can use whatever color you want. And then in addition to that, you will need polyfill. You do not need as big a bag as this. We'll just use a little tiny bit. It can be polyfill. It can be a wool filling as well, just whatever you like. And for the next time, our next class, you will need a pom-pom maker. You can have one like this. There's some other different varieties too, but this is the one that I will be talking about. Or if you don't want to get a pom-pom maker, you can make one out of cardboard. And I will make sure to leave a link to a video for how to do that. So, do you have all your supplies? Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so for the first thing we're going to do is we need to get some yarn. And I am going to use white because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing really easily on the video. Again, I wouldn't recommend that you use white unless your bunny is white, in which case I would totally recommend it. So I'm just going to grab a bunch of yarn. I would rather have too much than too little because obviously we're going to cut off the extra anyway later, and a little extra will be fine. But I don't want to have not enough. But it doesn't really use that much. So first thing we need to do is thread our needle. Now my preferred way to thread a needle is I actually take the end and I slide it over my needle like this, and I slide it to the end and push it in. That way I don't get the problem, you know, sometimes when you just go through, all of your fiber goes in 5 different directions. And when I do it this way, I don't run into that problem. Obviously, you can lick it. That is how all of our grandmothers did it. But I don't like having the wet end. So this is how I do it. However you like to thread your needle, though, go ahead and thread your needle. And then after that, we want to find the middle of our square. Note that how I have my stitches. So we're going across right now. So any of your little dips are going to go this way. So what I usually do to figure out exactly where my middle is I just fold it in half, put those ends together, and then I can kind of see a little more easily where that is. And I kind of pick a spot. It doesn't have to be perfect, just do your best. And I'm going to start right here on the edge, about as far out as I can go. And I'm going to take big stitches all the way across to here. Nice and big because I'm going to be using this to gather it up later. So just like this. And as you can see, I actually came out on probably the wrong side. So I'm going to make mine just a little bit smaller, and that way it's popping up on this side. Because I think that'll be better. I don't think it matters very much though. So we'll just make those slightly smaller. We're just going to keep looping it through, just following that same line. All right, there I go. So I have my first line across, and I have double checked to make sure that I only have one strand through My extra one is not caught in there in any way, which is good. I do not want that. So after you've done this, the next thing to do is we're going to go up to the corner and we're going to come back down the same way. It reminds me of those houses that we all drew when we were little, or maybe not so little. I think I still draw them that way. So to find my middle point, I am going to fold it the other direction now so I can see exactly where that is. And this is where I'm headed. So I'm going to make more big stitches all the way to there. Get them up. And you don't have to keep holding it if you want to check it again periodically. You can also do it folded. The biggest thing is if you're doing it folded like this is to make sure you don't sew this side in. We only want to be going along the front. And where's my corner? I think I went a little crazy with my stitches again. I'm very excited apparently. All right, here we go. All right, so now I've got my bottom, I'm coming up to the middle, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to come back down to right about here. These corners right here, and I'm going to come out a different stitch than I went in. These two corners right here are going to become my bunny's ears. So once you have those, now we're going to start pulling. And if you're like, I really like one side or I really like the other side, now's the time to pay attention, because if we push in here, this is going to become the back. And if we push in like this, then this is going to be the front. All right. So we're just going to start pulling them like this. And that is the beginning of a bunny face. So I'm going to grab some stuffing. Now, whenever I use stuffing, I always like to pull it apart a bunch, fluff it up. It's gotten compressed in the bag. So I always fluff it up and then I compress it again. All right, so I'm going to start pushing that in here. Pull that tight. And sometimes I do not pull this as tight as I want, because later on I will probably pull it a little tighter when I do the eyes. But you can start turning around, making sure that everything is kind of coming the way you want it to. Keep stuffing. Just keep, kind of have to pull on that. Let's just keep stuffing it and get it right. All right, so now I've got this part. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to tie a knot right here, just so it doesn't go anywhere on me. It's not even going to be a whole knot, I think, just a little one right like that. All right, so that is our bunny's face. I know it looks a little funny right now, but give it some time. It will get better. Now I'm going to take the end with my needle on it. And now I'm going to start working on the body. I will come back through and fill this in, but I'm going to wait until the end to do that part. So now we're going to do a whip stitch. And with a whip stitch, it's just this is going to be a really big whip stitch. Often when we do a whip stitch, we want it smaller, but basically I'm just going to be taking my needle and I'm just going to go, I'm going to kind of get these lined up, and I'm just going to go from one to the other. Just like that. And again, these are going to be fairly big because later we are going to cinch this together. So they're kind of big. Just like that. Get to the end here. All right, before I go any farther, I'm going to want to add some more stuffing to my bunny. Because once we're finished with this part, we will not be able to add more, so don't skip this part. All right, and now I'm going to come back around and I'm going to whip stitch all the way to here. All right, and here we are at the end. Okay, so right now he's very square. So now we're going to start pulling that yarn. We're going to cinch it all up. Just going to start. Check it out. Stitches disappear. I do think I could have stuffed him a little bit fuller, but there he is. And as you can see, I have so much more yarn than I possibly need. So from here now, we're going to want to very carefully try to finish this off. We're going to get a few stitches in. Fortunately, you will be using the same color as your bunny, so it will not be quite so obvious as mine will be. So I'm going to do a few stitches right here, just like the ones we did before, or not really stitches, but I'm weaving it in. I want my bunny to be very strong and to not come apart if any kids decide to play with my cute little bunny, which is quite possible. So we're going to do a few. I'm probably not going to get a lot in here just because they're not going to fit very well. This is the same weaving that I taught you in the last class. Just up and down. But we're going to finish it differently than we did when we did our square. So for this, once we've done a few, I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to go straight through the bunny, through the stuffing. So straight through and out the other side like this. And I'm going to pull it tight. And then I'm going to trim it. And that end is going to disappear inside the bunny. All right. He needs some eyes. So I'm going to grab my yarn for my eyes. And I'm going to thread that on my needle. Okay, so I'm going to want to decide where my eyes are going to go. I'm probably going to stick mine about here and, here on the other side or so. And if I decide I don't like them, I can take them out and try again, you know? So I'm going to go over a couple of stitches. I'm just going to leave that out there for right now. Give myself a end to work with later. I'm going to go around. So that's all I did is I went through the stitch, just like that. Left that out, kind of like that. And then I'm going to go straight across to the other side. And by going through like this, it actually helps give some definition to the face. And if you feel your bunny needs more definition, you can go back and forth a couple times. And that going across the face will help narrow it a little bit. All right, there is my eyes. Now I'm actually going to take advantage of the fact that I still have a hole back here. And I'm going to take my needle through the back like this. And that's just going to come out. And then because I did leave an end here, I can take this one. And I'm going to take that through the hole too. And there we go. So now, take these off. And I'm going to knot this with a square knot, possibly a granny square knot. All right, I'm going to clip that. I'm going to give it a little bit of length because I don't want them to come undone. And then I'm just going to tuck that into the brains. Okay, so now I'm going to take this end that I still have left. And I just want to make sure that I have my ears just the way I want them. Come across over here. You might find you don't have much to do, and you might find that you still have a bunch. It just kind of varies according to the bunny and the bunny's personality. But definitely want to push that pink yarn down inside. All right, and now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to go on one side because I am ready to finish this guy off. I'm going to weave in my end again. I'm going to try to do it in such a way that I can send the end down into the bunny just like I did the last time. Hold that, clip it, disappear inside. All right, that is what we have so far. And then the next thing we'll need to do is make a pom-pom for the bunny. So that will be in our next class, is we'll make a pom-pom. Also, I want to point out, these guys are made with the same number of stitches, and they are not quite the same size, because sometimes that happens. So there you go. I hope that your bunny is coming along really well. I would love for you to tell me about it in the comments down below. And if you have any questions, anything that you're not certain about, please let me know that too, and I'll see if I can help. See you next time. Bye.